Hello everyone. So I'm here today to continue working on my design team project. It's not going to be anything crazy, but just something fun out of some trash that I ended up with. And I don't have anything in any kind of order piled here except all over the place. So I may be digging and hunting for things. I did a lot of cutting out on my way back to Tulsa to have my hand surgery, which you can see I've had. It's not as big a deal as it looks. At least I don't think it is. I had two major, severe trigger fingers, is exactly how my doctor said it. And they were so painful. But I was putting them off until I recovered from my foot pretty well. Okay, no more of that. We can move on here. So this is the old piece of, like a folder that I got something from Germany in that I had ordered, like a cross stitch. I made pockets down to here. You can see, I'm hoping you can see down inside these little slits. See the yellow foam? I just tripled it up and put it on each end so it wouldn't lay flat. Did the same thing on the top and covered it, just decoupaged it pretty much with all the different printables in the seasons. It's actually called the Scrappy Seasons Ephemera pack is what I'm making. I just thought, why not? We'll just fill it full of ephemera. And when you get ready, you just pull out and see if there's something in here you want to use. It's got all 12 seasons. And yeah, I thought it was a great idea. And I did fix some ties to go on it. And they just wrap the same direction. I did the wood flower here. And then this just wraps around. And you just crisscross it around as many times as you want. And it's got 3 vintage, very old buttons on it. And then just remember how you wrap it so it doesn't get tangled. So I zigzagged around the whole thing. And talk about interesting to do on your sewing machine. You know, your sewing machine's only so wide on the inside. And it was much wider. So I kind of had to bend it a little bit, but you can't tell it. It didn't do any damage or anything to the actual folder. So I decided I, wanted a little journal in here with some of the pages. Now, I didn't put all of the pages in the journal, but I kind of wanted it like, I'll probably go ahead and do it like a regular journal and bound it into itself like a traveler's notebook. It's not going to be a traveler's notebook. It's going to be similar to this one I made, gosh, a year or so ago. And only this one's really with long envelopes. And I decoupaged it, remember, and then added just a bunch of sheets of different papers in here, different colors. And this time I'm not going to have different color papers. And I'm using some tea stain type envelopes. So hopefully that will all make sense to you in a moment. So see, I just inked them down, just grunged them down a little bit. And then we're going to glue this envelope inside the other envelope. And make it like a little traveler's notebook or something. Clever, huh? Wasn't my idea. I'm sure I saw it somewhere. Whoever came up with it, it was clever. Okay, so I'm going to put some, I'm working kind of slow because I can really only use one hand. I can use the tips of my fingers, but I can't push up against them. So I just have to be careful. Okay, so we're going to put the flaps inside of each other. And that'll make it fun. Now let's hope that everything goes in nice and neat without getting all messy. Yeah, there we go. How neat was that? Then you just rub it on. Make sure you're not getting glue on your folder. Now you're going to have this open spot here. We're going to glue it down as well. That way we don't have to worry with it, you know, being in the way. So I'm just going to put this on here. Now, you can order these envelopes. They have, they don't call it tea stained. I can't remember, but there's 3 different styles of paper and envelopes. And one of them really looks like tea stain paper. Okay, this particular one looks more muslin or one of those other things. But you can tell they were made for like making journals and stuff. They don't say that though. So I hope you guys had a great weekend or a great week. I guess now it's already Wednesday. Or is it Thursday? I don't know. Maybe it's Thursday. I've lost track of time this time around because I've been busy doing other stuff. So this is what I decided to put on here, and I'm going to leave a little bit of the brown trim at the top and at the bottom because it's a little bit shorter. But I think that'll be fine. I'm not too concerned. I'm going to glue this down. And I'm just going to squeeze along the edges so we get that down really well. And we may not even have to do much binding to it. Just, you know, use a simple string, and doesn't have to be binding thread necessarily. Just something heavier than thread. Thread, is that a word? I don't know. Okay. Day before yesterday, I slept all day. The day after surgery. I slept all day, and my husband and I, we were in a hotel because my surgery was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I live in Branson, Missouri, so we just wanted to make sure everything was taken care of in case I just didn't feel good. I had a lot of nausea, but other than that, I could have probably came home, but we slept so well, and we're glad we didn't. We both must have really needed it. We slept like 5 or 6 hours when we got home from the hospital. And I was home by noon. And we had full-size beds. And we just piled up in those beds. And it was awesome. Closed the drapes and went right to sleep. And then we woke up, had dinner, went back to sleep again. I know, it's crazy, right? Okay, so on the inside, I'm going to trim this little edge off so it's nice and even. And we'll add some glue after we're done putting all the paper on here. Okay. Here's that. Okay, trimming all this rough stuff off. Now, so you have to bend it and get it all flexible. And it's already been all bent back and around a few times to hold it down. Okay. So, I hope I got my papers in here correctly. I didn't do them in any certain order, except I wanted these two to be the first ones that you see. And I think everything else is going to be okay. We're about to find out. I think it is. I think I've got them all laid correctly. Now, I am going to take my pencil. As soon as I see it, here it is. What I think I'll do is use some big clips like this to clip the book together. Kind of hard to do when you only have one real hand, but we'll manage. And I usually come on the other side of the book and do it like that. Now, because it's so thin, I'm not going to worry about putting 4 clips. I'm going to get my my needle. Excuse me. Okay. I have so much junk in my scrap room right now that I'm afraid I'm going to fall half the time. Do you have yours like that? I really shouldn't. Okay. This is like a heavy floss that we're going to use. And I'm just going to mark it here, you know, in 3 different places. Just, you know, hope that I get it in the right spot. Yeah, then we'll just get our stylus or our awl. So let's get this done first. I shouldn't do it on there because you know what will end up happening. I'll put a big old hole in there and I would be sad. So just bend it down. I didn't put all 12 seasons in here. I have to be real careful here not to bend my hand back because it feels like it's ripping my hand back instead. I have to go gently. Okay, now we'll do this one on the end. This is not the normal awl that I use, so I have to be careful not to stab myself. But it's pretty sharp, which I like. Okay, now let me get my needle. And we're going to use the floss. Because this isn't going to be that difficult. I am going to have to actually poke some holes in my book. The book portion of it. Normally you go 3 widths or lengths of your book. So you'll do one part of the string here, and then 2, and then 3. And I don't ever make it be perfect. I don't worry about it too much. Now, we do need to poke the holes in this little little book here. I forgot about that. Wouldn't be right without having the little book, having its little, what did I do with my pen? Or my pencil? There it is. So I'm going to try to even it up as much as I can from the top to the bottom. Normally, you would have this attached already, okay? The booklet portion, this, because I kind of did it backwards. We'll find out if I've got this in the right spot. If not, it's all my fault. Okay. So now we're gonna stitch it in just like we would stitch any other book. I'm gonna go up the middle. And then out the back. And back up through the top. You do kind of have to fiddle with it here and get it in through the holes. Oops, gotta hang on to my thread. This is pretty simple. I just think it's kind of fun, like if you have a friend that makes journals or scrapbooks or whatever, this would be a fun little gift, especially when you make it yourself. Now you could make like actual ephemera, like nicer. In this one, I'm doing simple stuff, but you could do it as complicated as you want. Now, we've got to make sure our thread is even and tight. And it is. Put one string on one side of this one and one on the other. Tighten it up. And take your needle off. Make sure that everything's pulled tight. That's exactly what we want. You want to tie one to the right and then one to the left, because it makes it more of a perfect knot if you do it that way. And under some circumstances, such as this one, I'm going to tie it multiple times because it is thin thread. And that way you don't have to worry about it coming off. So I think you get the gist of what this is all about as far as a little journal goes. Now, if you wanted to, you could just make a folder in place of this and use it for ephemera. It's really up to you how you do that. And that turned out really cute. Let me put my needles up. I have my favorite ones. Okay. Okay. So now, let's see. Where do we want to put this little guy? I found this really cool piece of cardstock, or piece of a cardstock that had cotton on it and a little butterfly. So I rounded one corner and thought, well, I'll put it right here, just to the outside of that little knot, and we'll make it be a place to put the journal. I thought we could just tuck it in there. And if we don't like that, then we can glue all 4 corners down, right? So we're going to put this in by gluing the sides down, the one side and the one bottom. And hopefully it'll be wide enough that it will hang on to the little mock-up of a traveler's notebook. It's not really a traveler's notebook, but it's close enough, right? Yeah, there we go. Now we want this to dry really good before we start putting anything else on it. Trying to get the glue off my fingers. I've been cutting ephemera. I've been doing way too much, my husband says. But I don't feel like I am. I think you know your body. All right, so this will go into here when it's dry. We don't want to interfere with it right now because it's gluing down. Okay. So I'm going to set that to the side while we move on to the next part. So I'm trying to decide. I'm sorry, Sadie's barking downstairs. Let me make sure you guys can see okay. I forget and I get going here and want to make sure everybody can see. And this is what I call having trash and making it junky. Okay, so I got a couple little bags. Just little craft bags. And I inked them up and folded them down like little envelopes. Now, I got to fix this because it's going to stick out if I don't. Okay, so like always, I have been having reactions to my medication. I'm very sensitive to medications, and yeah, it's funny because I can take them, you know, for a few years, maybe 2 or 3, and then I start getting reactions. And of course, yesterday I started getting reactions. It's really side effects more than being allergic. It just drives me up the wall itching. Do any of you do that? I guess it's more common than I realized. Okay, now we got those glued down properly. So I thought instead of putting it on the top of this, like this, which would look really cute, wouldn't it? And then you could bring it up. That we would put it down here and then have a little pocket to put stuff in. Although now looking at it, I don't think I like that as well. I might like this better. So let's do this. We'll just see how it turns out, right? And so we'll just glue onto this flap and make sure it, you know, it's all down nicely. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to line it up right here with the top of the envelope. Look alike. Now, it's not going to lay perfectly flat because, you know, it is what it is. It's just a little bag. Okay. Trying to find what I did with my little wipey that I was getting the glue off my fingers. There it is. I just realized it was completely open, my little wipey box. Okay. Now, if you wanted, you could round your corners up. See, and I got that. I got to push that back because it's going to be crooked if I don't. You got to make sure you keep it all straight. If you wanted to use your machine, you could actually stitch around it, but it already has faux stitching, which I think is really cute. So let's get this other one glued down, and this one is going to go right here. We'll do it the very same way. My glue is talking to me. Okay. Now, let's see. I'm getting so excited that it's getting close to fall. My next book is going to be a fall book. Are you guys ready for fall? I always am. It's funny to me how we try to put things in a place that they're not meant to be. Then we get this odd shape. But that's what I love about this, is you don't know what you're going to end up with till it's all said and done. But let's go ahead and ink this portion under here too. I'm just kind of running it over the edges and kind of taking the bright white off. Okay, there we go. So now we're going to pull this over, and we're going to just see what we can do here. I thought what we'd do inside these little pockets is just put some random ephemera. And on each end of this, we can put our little bags, which really are little envelopes. Now, if we wanted to hold them down with some circles or whatever, we could. Now, this little kit had a lot of these well-tail little images, which I thought was super great. So we'll use some of those too, but I want us to get some of the ephemera and only ink it if it's really light, like this music sheet. We don't need them all inked. Here's some ephemera for little bunnies. So it has Easter and 4th of July and St. Patrick's Day, which is Charlie's birthday, Christmas, October, November. I'm trying to remember what all was on there, but it's going to look really cute. I'm actually surprised I did this video today because I've been very tired. You know how it is when you had anesthesia. You just kind of feel like a zombie. That's me today. But that's okay. So I'm trying to get as many little things, little pieces of ephemera I can. Okay, so let's put, you know, like, I don't know, 1, 2, maybe 3 ephemeras in each one. How about we do 4? We'll get one more. Here's another little mushroom one. Little clocks. So when you guys, when you have friends, if you're a student and you have friends over, you want to make sure that you guys can get together and play with the ephemera and make things. And I mean, there's all kinds of fun to be had with these little books. And then I'm going to glue that one down there. And these are down in these little ephemera pieces are down in the bags. Okay, and there we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just glue these down. Now, I may have to go back and fix it where these little bags, let me see how deep over I need to go. Fix it where the little bags have stuff the right length. I want to fix it where we can put a closure on. Is pretty much what I'm saying. Oh, I went a little too far over. Dang it. That's not what I had planned. Lots more than I expected on there. Now, we may still do something there, but I'm thinking do little closures right here. And after we get these glued down, that's what we'll do. We'll make the little closures. There we go. And you know, I used to have, I don't think I ever put it on my actual ephemera list, but I did print out some trims that I used to use. And I saw them just the other day, so I figured we can use those also. So cute. Now, we could have made pockets, but I think I do want to punch some holes. Let me grab them. Get the right punch up here. And I figure we can punch them out in like a khaki color. If I can find some right here by my desk. And I could. What's the odds of that? So, Let's do one more here at the end. The one thing I failed to do was I failed to put it on a brad and slip it into my, let me think a minute how we can do this. We could still put a brad up here, but I don't think I'd like, I think we'll just do it this other way. There's lots of ways you can do it. So what we'll do is we will glue 3 of these together. Okay. Okay. Sorry I'm being so quiet. I'm just concentrating, and I'm very kind of tired from my procedure yesterday. Although I slept wonderful. Oh my goodness, it's the best sleep. And it wasn't a very long surgery. It was less than an hour for everything. Those are the kind of surgeries I can tolerate. And sometimes you don't have a choice when it's hurting pretty bad. I haven't even gotten released on my foot, and I'm already having another one. It's crazy. And I think this will work okay. I do it with envelopes a lot. Okay, now I'm going to ink it. I'm going to have brown fingers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue down part of this and have it hold it down like this. You know, it's a simple way to do it, but you have to let it dry. So be sure you really let it dry. I use just less than half. I put glue on less than half. And then you lay this where you want it. Make sure you have your finger where you need it to be to hold this down, and hold it for a minute. We have had some scorching weather. I don't know how it is where you're from, but man alive, 100 degrees yesterday and today, I believe. Okay. Now I'm trying to wipe any excess glue. You know, there's always excess glue wanting to come out and cause havoc. Okay. We're going to do the same with this other circle. Just put it down here on the bottom. Got a little bit on there that I didn't need, probably. A little more than necessary sometimes. I have a bad habit of that. And hopefully those will hold it down without any issues. Now, let me get the other things I was just talking about. I got to dig it out right here. I had them here just a couple days ago. You know, that's how it is. When you need them, you can't find them quickly. There they are. Give me just a moment. I don't have a lot of strength in my hand, so I gotta just take my sweet time. Okay. So, we got a lot of other ephemera if we wanted to use it. We could put as much, it can go on and on and on. And I'm trying to keep these from popping off. I'm trying to think, what can I put on them to keep them from popping off? They have to have plenty of time to dry. I'll set that right there. We'll see what happens for now. So all these little trims, you know, Gail was the one that started the trim thing. And of course, I think everybody came after, right behind her, and did the same thing out of their trims. And I actually I did some of my own trims, but mostly pastel-y little girl-like ones, because that's my favorite colors, if you haven't noticed. I love to do anything maroon and pink, mint green. So, these are already cut out, and you just can add them to whatever. Now, I'm not going to ink them right now because that's just a long process. But you've got all these different little trims that are cut out, see? And you might want to do something with them. But we've got all colors and all sizes. And so I'm just going to lay those in there like this. Now, I'm not going to cut any more out right now. But you could. And so what my plan is to slide them under here. Make sure you don't glue your little bag down. Nope, I didn't. I'm surprised. The other one felt like I did a little bit. Let me get it. Okay, it's kind of awkward when your hands are all not like they're normally. I see people still use these kind of things all the time. Now, these are a little tall, so what we're going to do, now I'm sitting here figuring out why it's not cooperating. Well, it's not cooperating because I don't have them stacked even, for one thing, and I don't have them lined up properly. so that they'll go in without any problems. And then I can just trim. You want them to go up underneath here. Now, if you have a bunch of them, which I don't have them trimmed out, I just trimmed out a few. You can put them up here underneath and then slip them up under here. And then you've got all kinds of trim. What do you think? I kind of like that. I'm thinking I kind of like that. Now, I've got glue seeping out right here on the side, so let me get that. I might actually put this in my Etsy shop. We'll have to see when I get all finished what all we ended up putting in here. And I'll cut more ephemera and stuff to put in here too. I'm going to move all that out of the way for right now. Now, this one got a little bit of glue on the back. That's okay. I'll get it cleaned off. I forgot to get up under there and make sure whenever I first glued them down. I wasn't thinking. Okay. Really got a good smack of glue right there, but it's coming off without any problem. And I'll get the rest of that out, but I want my little craft circles to dry so they'll actually work. So you can continue on doing all kinds of fun things with this. I'm sorry, I gotta put a little bit of my Coke, my Diet Coke, into my glass because my medicine that the doctors have me on is making me dry. And I can't talk. We don't want anything to interfere with me talking. Sorry. I should have had that ready. So right here will be where we put this, if we want. Or we could come up with whatever for over here, because you don't always end up with a giant pocket. So we can also take it and bring it over here and put it up right like that. So you could put your trim on one side, and I must have not glued that down well enough, and your journal on the other side. And over here, you could put tags, is what I'm thinking we will put, is tags. Now, this little kit, that the Seasons kit, has just some awesome little tags for all the seasons. Even Christmas and Valentine's Day, Easter, all of those. And you can either put them all up here like this, or you can do them at the side, which is what I would do, because you can get more in there. See, just like this. Now you could figure out ways to put other ones in here. And we also have these small little tags, which they're so cute. They're all like the big ones, only just a little bit smaller. Now, we could put them in the lower portion of these tags. I probably would even them out down here, just, you know, just so everything looks nice and spaced. But I'm going to put some vellum on here in random places, I think, so we can plop it down, put some of these tags and some of these whale tails behind there. We also have, I had these little sleeves, clear sleeves that you could put photos in, or some ephemera in also. It's nothing fancy, but I thought this was a fun project for trash. Some trash that just came rolling in the door one day, and then we had a lot to work on after that. Now let me get out some of my vellum. This kit also has pockets, so we'll have to put some pockets in here somewhere. I'll find a place. Let me think. I was going to grab something and I just, oh, vellum. I'm like, I went blank. I'm just going to get one piece of vellum. You could use tracing paper also. And you can decide if you want to put it down like pockets, like you see in a lot of the other ephemera packs, or what? Because we've got this section up here, we can put some ephemera or some vellum, and then maybe put some of those pockets in. But you really have to stitch this, or you have to, let me get the trim cut down on it. I don't want it to end up being way too big. Okay. Now let me trim that. Okay. Now I have never made one of these, so I don't know what all's involved in it, or how much of what you have to have, or how long you have to wait for it to glue and so forth. Okay, so let's see if this is the right size. Now, obviously, if you could do this and stitch, I think you'll end up with a much better result. Do we want to cut a little bit more off? Maybe just a tiny bit. I want it to have a little bit of an edge there on the top. Because, you know, okay, just like that. Now, I'm not going to stitch this on camera because this thing is hard to put under the machine. But you get what I'm talking about. So what we'll do with this, you could stitch it down the middle if you wanted, and then around the two sides, or just make it one big pocket. Okay, and you can put butterflies and whale's tails and all kinds of goodness in there. And that's what my plan is to do. And I'll stitch it. Now, you don't have to stitch it through your packaging. We'll just stitch the vellum itself and then glue it on. I think it'll be easier to do it that way. And yeah, so I think that will end up being lots of fun. And then we'll have that down with all the other ephemera in it. And I think we will decorate the front of this little journal. Let's see what we could, let me see how much time we've got. We don't have time to do that. We've got 5 minutes. So I'll finish this up and do a flip through, and you'll get to see the final touches, but pretty much this is it. We could also take it if we wanted to and add some stuff on the back. And I might do that. So we'll see how that goes. All right, guys. Hope you had fun today. I did. And I'm glad that I'm able to do something besides sit around and fiddle, because I was worried I wasn't going to be able to do anything. But I have this finger and this finger and this finger that's free. And they're covered in nice, thick amounts of ink and glue. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Love you guys. Bye-bye.